Hello! Here we are, the King family from the Wild Meat Retreat. And we are going to talk about what to do with the meat after, not right after it's been hunted, but you've hunted, you brought the meat home, and now what do you do with it?
Exactly. And that's a great question. I remember when I first started hunting wondering this myself, because after you go on a successful hunt and you got these big hunks of meat, what do you do with them? It's not like a little rabbit or squirrel or something that you can put in the refrigerator. It's this big thing of meat, and you don't want it to go bad. You don't want it to get hot. So what do you do with it? And we're going to show you the method that we're using right now with our elk. We had a successful elk hunt a couple days ago, so we feel very blessed, and also want to make sure we take care of that meat.
And there's like a whole bunch of different methods, but this
Yep.
is the one we're using right now. So that's something that we can talk about that we'll learn more of, is like which method and when to use it.
Right, that's a good point. You've got some basic principles that you want to follow, and then whatever you use to accomplish that is fine. And that big principle is you want to keep the meat cold. That's the most important thing. Keep a really good chill on it, because if it gets hot, it can start to go bad. And the way that you accomplish that is different depending on the size of the animal and the environmental conditions that you're in. So we're down here in Cottonwood near Sedona. It's 35, 40 degrees right now. We've got to do something, because it's going to get up to 50, 55 degrees, and that's a little too warm to have just meat hanging out here. So we've got to do something to keep it a little bit colder.
Okay, so this is the chance to jump off and go. Woo! Okay, big jump.
So since this was an elk, we couldn't just put it in our refrigerator. Okay, you got the
So
camera.
we went and bought this cooler
Yeah, we've got this really big cooler.
from Walmart.
Open it up here.
Okay.
So we've got our meat inside these game bags that we use to keep it clean. And we've just got all the different quarters stacked up inside of there. I've got these ice packs on top of it. And then underneath all of this are some big blocks of ice. And the ice is on the bottom. We didn't put that on top because we wouldn't want the meat getting all wet. So those are your principles. You want to keep it cool, you want to keep it cold, and you want to keep it dry.
So regular ice on the bottom layer, right?
Yeah.
And then ice packs on the top. Okay, because I know, like when I pack a food, I always know that heat rises, so I always want to put the ice on the top because it's going to rise. But we're doing
true.
it both on this.
Exactly,
Both.
yeah.
Okay.
So we got as much cold as we can get
Okay.
inside the cooler. And then
I'll
check
scoot
this
back
out.
a little here. Okay, what's next here?
So we've got the drain open, and we've
Okay.
got the cooler propped up so that it's angled this way. And you can come out
See.
here every day or so and pick it up like this
Yeah.
and drain all that water out. Because same thing, you don't want that meat sitting in a bunch of slushy water. It'll get all soggy and it's just not good for it. So you want to prop it up, water can drain every
Okay.
day or so, come and spill the water out.
So I guess my question is, okay, so you go on the hunt, you bring the meat home, put it in
Yeah.
this cooler method. How many days does it stay in the cooler?
That's a good question. You can stay in the cooler more days than you would think. So we shot this elk a couple days ago, and today we're going to start actually processing the meat. And you
Okay.
could actually do that sooner, but it's not ideal because of what's called rigor mortis. So when an animal dies, all the muscles tense up. You've probably seen this before, where everything gets really hard. And if you start processing the animal when that rigor mortis is happening, it's just not good for the meat. It doesn't taste good. It can be really chewy. So what I always say is you want to let the meat relax. You want to let it soften up. You want that rigor mortis to go away. And that usually happens after about 48 hours or so, maybe even 24 hours. So it seems strange to let meat sit around in a cooler like this, but it could actually sit in a cooler as long as it's cold and it's not getting wet and you're replacing that ice as you need to. I mean, it could sit in here for 7, 8, 9 days. And if you shoot an older animal, an animal that's lived longer, the meat's tougher, this is what's called dry aging. You probably heard of this with buying beef and whatnot. It's been dry aged because it's actually dry in here and it's aging and getting older. And the bacteria, in a good way, is starting to break down the muscle so that it tastes better and it's easier to chew. It's just more tender.
Yeah, so we're doing the dry aging method in the cooler because the elk legs, the quarters that it's sitting in, were too big to do it in the fridge.
Right.
Because usually I clear out the whole fridge and you let it dry age in there.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If it's a smaller animal, like a lot of the deer we end up getting, actually do fit inside a shelf or two in your refrigerator. So, if you've got a wife that's as cool as mine and will allow you to clear out a bunch of space in your refrigerator, that's a really simple, easy way to do it and keep it cold.
Go ahead. I want to show how big the piece is.
Yeah.
Like why so the meat's in these bags, but it just won't fit in the fridge. So that's why this cooler method is such a
like these back quarters here. I mean, this chunk of leg spans the entire length of this cooler. Right. So, I mean, it's a massive hunk of meat, and it's just not going to fit inside your refrigerator unless you've got a really big refrigerator,
like a walk-in,
if you've got access to some kind of commercial fridge, a walk-in fridge, that's great too. Same thing, as long as you can keep it cool, whatever method you use is fine. When we did our last retreat, it was pretty warm out here. So when we slaughtered the goat and we were waiting to process it the next day, we hung it in our office space with an air conditioner cranked down as low as it could get. We got it down to 50 degrees or so in there, and it was fine overnight.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great. Thanks for watching. I hope this has helped to help you understand some of these principles of what to do with an animal after a successful hunt, because it's just really important to get this right,
Yeah.
Because you don't want your meat going bad.
Yeah, this is a great method. You could bring this cooler with you in the back of your pickup truck and do that for a couple of days out in the woods even, or, I guess you wouldn't have ice out there.
Well, you could bring some ice.
But it's just, there's so many ways to do it.
Yeah,
right?
As long as it's cold and as long as it's dry, you're good.
So we hope to see you at the next retreat.
Yeah, if this interests you, come to the Wild Meat Retreat. We got one coming up. Check out the website, wildmeatretreat.com. Learn all about it. We're going to take a real live goat and do all these steps. We're gonna slaughter it together. We're gonna process the meat. We're gonna break it down into cuts. We're gonna eat a bunch of it. We're gonna show you how to preserve it so it stays good for a year in the future and feed your family. We're going hunting. We're going to shoot guns. Oh, my God. It's going to be so much fun. So, yeah, come join us.
It is really fun. And if you have any questions, it's really helpful to jump on a call. So just message me or email, whatever you need to do to contact me, and we'll jump on a call with you and have a great day.
Awesome. Okay, let's get into this elk. I'm hungry.
All right.